Hey everybody, got another book review for you guys today. This is a book sent to me by B&H Publishing Group. This is Classic Hymns, Read and Reflect with the Classics. That's the title. And you can see it on the cover right there, as well as Classic Hymns on the spine, and B&H at the bottom. So this edition came with these little slip covers. This one was slid over the front cover, which gives you a good kind of a introduction to it. Engage a classic like never before, which is really cool, and I'll show you how we go through it. And you can see some of the features, and I'll talk about those as well. Personal reflection questions, journaling prompts, study questions, prayer prompts, and classic text in an easy to read format. So it's really cool. Now this was over the back cover, and it kind of gives part of the introduction. When you go to the message to the reader, I'll show you that. This is a section, basically a synopsis of the to the reader. Here's also the ISBN. You can check that out. Pause it if you need to. You see the retail of $14.99. You can definitely usually find these on sale. They'll be a little bit cheaper than that. And there's a reason for their affordability. So we'll go into that too. So anyway, so getting into the text, or the book itself, it's a hardback, as you can see, with a nice like cloth over board. Not really a pricey cloth over board, but more of these were it seemed like these were produced for affordability, which is understandable. So it's just a simple hardback, nothing fancy on the spine. This is basically painted. They're stamped, but it's not really deep. But it's there. Hopefully it'll last. Anyway, so you open it up, you can see just a standard paper paste down. And you've got a blank sheet and your title pages, and your publication page. The 17 on the far right is the year produced, or the year printed, and that is 2017. And the one on the far left is the number printing. So it's the first printing of 2017 of this edition. So anyway, and you can see some other information. If you need to pause that and see any of that, is fine. Also, you can check out the contents to see if this might be something you'd be interested in. Just pause that, and you can read through all 90 of the hymns. So there's one, and you can pause it again and read those. Let me get it focused. You can pause it again, and then you can pause it again and read those. All right, pause it again and read those. And finally, you can pause it and read the final 10. So, when we get past the contents page, you have the letter to the reader, which just explains what the purpose of this is, why it's important to read the words of the hymns. It's just really important to know when we're singing is biblical, and where it comes from in the scriptures, and what the words mean and how they go together, so we're not just singing vainly. So, and the first one is one of my favorites, is Holy, 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 and it gives you the author of who wrote it, who composed the music for it, and the years they lived, birth and death years. Then it gives you in italics with nice spacing. You see all the marginal room you have for notes. It's great. It's on pretty good paper. Seems like it's pretty good paper. You can see the reading of the hymn, and then you have the source of that. Holy, 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 of course, comes from Isaiah 6. I believe verse 4. I'll have to go back and check. But it gives you a direction for your Bible study and some questions. Also gives you personal reflection questions and prayer prompts, like how you should pray in light of this hymn. And then you go to the next one. Now the layout, and one of my favorites is Mighty Fortress, which is written by Martin Luther right here. Mighty Fortress is Our God. You can see Martin Luther, which is really cool, and along with Hedge, and then the music done by Martin Luther also. So very, very famous hymn from the 1400s. But anyway, so it shows you all of these have Bible study questions, personal reflection questions, and prayer prompts. And you have a lot of room. Like you see this one, it ends on page 17. You flip it and you have a full empty page, because all of them start on the right page. Now some of them that end on the left page will immediately start on the right page. But those that end on the right page, you'll have a blank page between them. So anyway, so you can see that's how they are from front to back, which is really cool. And really the way it's laid out is great for a devotional. About the amount of time it would take to go through this would be about 30 to 40 minutes for each hymn, to read them, to do the Bible study questions, do the personal reflection questions, and the prayer. You know, conservatively, it would be at least 40, 45 minutes to do it properly. So it's about your average devotional amount. So this would be a great little devotional. It's a good carry-around size, about an 8x5 and less than an inch thick. Really light. So it's just really done well. The only hitch I have, the only gripe I have is this right here. You see on the spine, how all the pages want to stick straight up? That's because it is a glued binding. So what happens with the glued binding? This right here. It's gonna eventually want to close on you. It will not lay flat. And no matter if you put it right in the middle, it eventually will want to shut on you. Now it might hold right in the middle, but if you're anywhere other than the middle, it's going to want to close every time. So it can't lay open unassisted. So you almost either have to have something holding it down, or your hand on it, or holding it in your hand. So that gets kind of frustrating. So if I had to do a star rating, a 5-star rating, this would be a 4 out of 5 stars, mainly because of the glued binding. Also, the glued binding will make it not last as long. A sewn binding will last for generations, where a glued binding will last as long as it's not being used. It'll last a long time. But if you use this edition, if you go through all 90 in 3 months, then you're going to end up going it front to back. You're going to go through it front to back 3 times or 4 times in a year as your devotional, and it's going to be gone. It's going to. I mean, I would be really surprised if it were still around after 4 times going through every page and pushing them down, and that glued binding will eventually deteriorate. So anyway, like I said, this is a really great addition. Other than the glued binding, it is incredible. The only additions I would have to this, I would love to have a little more history to the actual hymn, or to the author or composer, or the title, or some of that. I'd love to have some history. Also, the score, the musical score would be great to have. But for what it is, if it's used as a devotional, it's perfect. You don't need the musical score. You don't really need the history of it, because the history draws you away from the biblical centrality of it. You're looking more at the history of the hymn. So anyway, that is the classic hymns. Read and reflect with the classics from B&H Publishing Group. Hope this was helpful for you guys. God bless.